He trusted her without hesitation. He worked long hours, came home tired, and believed that the quiet comfort of their marriage meant stability, that it was a sign of a strong foundation. He never imagined that silence could hide something rotten, something that was slowly decaying the life they had built together. She changed slowly, almost invisibly. The transformation was so subtle that, at first, he didn't even notice. It began with small excuses that seemed plausible on their own. Late shopping trips became more frequent. Phone calls were suddenly taken in another room, her voice a hushed whisper. A sudden, almost obsessive focus on her appearance took hold. New clothes, a different hairstyle, more time spent in front of the mirror. When he gently brought it up, she laughed it off. She accused him of being insecure, of being paranoid. He felt a pang of guilt and apologized for doubting her, completely unaware that his unwavering trust was being weaponized against him. Every apology he offered was another brick she used to build the wall between them. The affair didn't start with a sudden burst of passion. It started with something far more insidious: attention. Another man listened to her complaints, the ones she no longer shared with her husband. He admired her confidence, complimented her, and made her feel seen, desired. She told herself she deserved this feeling. She told herself it was harmless flirting, just a little fun. She whispered these lies to herself over and over until they started to sound like the truth. At home, she grew colder. Affection felt like a chore she had to perform. Simple conversations felt like interruptions to her private world. Her husband sensed the growing distance, the chilling emotional void between them, but he blamed himself. He thought, maybe I'm not trying hard enough, so he tried harder. He bought her gifts she accepted with a polite, empty smile. He planned dates she attended with a distracted air. He ignored the dull, persistent ache in his chest every single time she pulled away from his touch. The truth, as it often does, surfaced by accident. A message illuminated her phone screen while it lay unattended on the kitchen counter. It was a name he didn't recognize. The words were too intimate, too familiar to ever be misunderstood. The world seemed to slow down as the meaning of that message settled in his gut like a block of ice. When he confronted her, holding the phone like a piece of evidence, she didn't cry. She didn't deny it. Instead, she looked annoyed, irritated, as if he had interrupted something far more important than their marriage. Then she attacked. She told him it was his fault. She said he was boring, predictable. With a cold finality, she said she deserved to be happy, even if that happiness was built on his pain. That night, listening to her justification, something inside him broke. It was the shattering of a beautiful illusion he had cherished for years. But as the pieces fell away, something else awakened. A cold, hard clarity. He didn't beg. He didn't shout. He simply stood there and listened, really listened. For the first time, he saw her clearly. Not as the woman he loved, the woman he had built a life with, but as the person she had become: cold, selfish, utterly unapologetic. Without another word, he walked out of the house. He didn't say goodbye. There was nothing left to say. In the weeks that followed, she expected him to crawl back. She was convinced of it. She had always believed he was weak, dependent on her, incapable of standing on his own. She waited for the pleading phone calls, the desperate texts. Instead, he filed for separation. He stopped answering her calls. He stopped explaining himself. The power dynamic she had so carefully constructed had crumbled. And the other man? The one who made her feel so special? He disappeared as soon as the word responsibility entered the picture. When she mentioned the idea of a real commitment, he vanished completely, leaving her to face the wreckage alone. Reality hit her hard and fast. Friends who once admired her as part of a perfect couple now kept their distance. Whispers followed her at social gatherings in the grocery store. The story, no matter how she tried to spin it, always circled back to the same undeniable truth. She betrayed a good man. He poured all the energy he once gave to his marriage into himself. He focused on his work, his health, and his discipline. He hit the gym, not for revenge, but for release. Pain hardened him, but it also sharpened him. The doubt that had plagued him was replaced by a quiet confidence. The desperation he felt was replaced by a renewed sense of purpose. Months later, their paths crossed. He was calm, grounded, untouchable. He carried himself with an air of self-possession that he never had before. He no longer sought her approval or her attention. That realization terrified her. The man whose world once revolved around her now existed entirely outside of it. She tried to reconnect. She sent texts. She called. She apologized profusely. She cried. He finally agreed to meet. He listened to her pleas without emotion, his face a calm, unreadable mask. And then he told her something she never, ever expected. He told her he forgave her. Not for her sake, he explained, but for his own peace. He was letting go of the anger and the pain because holding on to it was only poisoning himself. A flicker of hope sparked in her eyes, but he extinguished it with his next words. He then told her calmly and definitively that he would never, under any circumstances, take her back. That moment was the final blow. It destroyed her last illusion of control. In the back of her mind, she had always believed she held the power, that he would always be her safety net, that she could always return. Karma didn't arrive with a dramatic lightning strike. It arrived with his quiet, uncheckable indifference. Financial struggles began to mount without his stable income. A deep, gnawing loneliness settled into her bones. Every empty night, every quiet moment was a brutal reminder of the loyalty and love she had so carelessly thrown away. He moved on, not into another relationship, but deeper into himself. He learned that loyalty without boundaries is a form of self-betrayal. He learned that true love should never require you to abandon yourself. He found a peace that didn't depend on anyone else's approval. Years later, she would hear about his success through the grapevine. His career flourished, he was respected. He was happy, he was at peace. Hearing about his quiet, steady growth haunted her more than any form of hatred ever could. She realized, far too late, that she had mistaken his kindness for weakness and his patience for permanence.